It's time to get rowdy with Rusty this week in wrestling on That Way Cool Wrestling Show Breakout.
Hello and welcome to episode number 10, another exciting edition of That Way Cool Wrestling Show Breakout for May 19th, 2020. Here is all the top stories in the latest world of professional wrestling. Everything else has been edited out and sanitized and just plain forgotten about for your protection. So here we go. First, we got Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins expecting a baby. Becky will be off TV for approximately a year. No word on Seth's situation. So that's at least $1 million or more down the tubes for that family. Ooh, that's an expensive pregnancy, in my opinion. Then we move on to this week's edition of Dark Side of the Ring. The Road Warriors / Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal, were one of the top tag teams in the 80s and 90s, and I grew up watching them as well as I'm sure many of you did. This was a really good documentary, not just your career retrospective, but also talked about Hawk's drug addiction in the past and how he had to recover from that and how that affected the Road Warriors to split up for a short period of time and various other things. So I would encourage you, if you haven't seen that, go back and check that out on Vice TV or YouTube. This coming week's Dark Side of the Ring will be the season finale, and it will be on Owen Hart. And the first extended interview with Owen Hart's widow, Martha Hart, as she talks about her past and probably even some current troubles with the WWE and WWF many years ago. This will mark the 20th anniversary coming up here pretty soon of the Owen Hart tragedy. He passed away in Kansas City after a fall on May 23rd, 1999. If you do listen to see the Owen Hart documentary on Vice TV this week, I would also encourage you to listen to an audio documentary by John Pollock on YouTube. It's about 48 minutes long, and it's titled Owen Hart's Final Day, because that will also have some never before heard information that may or may not even be in the Dark Side of the Ring documentary. So both of those will give you some really good insight as to what happened back then. And even if you know what happened back then, there's still some stuff that's never been told before. So I would encourage any wrestling fan to check out both of those pieces. Moving right along, it's expected that Iron Mike Tyson, yes, the boxer, the badass boxer from the 90s and 2000s era, is expected to debut the TNT Championship belt to the winner at Double or Nothing this coming Saturday night on May 23rd. We then move on to a correction that I had to do from last week. Matt Hardy was the name I was searching for when I could not remember who Kenny Omega's partner was last week in AEW. Also, another correction, it was Brody Lee who stole the AEW championship belt from Jon Moxley and not Lance Archer. For those mistakes, I do apologize. And anytime I make a mistake, I will apologize the following week. Many thanks to independent worker Brittany Diamond, who contacted me about those corrections. Thank you, Brittany, and continued success on the independent circuit. Maybe we'll see you in WWE one day. The next thing is the come on, man moment of the week from the Money in the Bank pay-per-view this past week. They had both the men's and women's Money in the Bank matches that were shot 2, 3, 4 weeks ago and edited more like a movie rather than a wrestling match. That would have been the come on, man moment of the week right there. But if that wasn't bad enough, the other thing was during the pay-per-view, this $1 billion WWE camera crew, and I said billion with a B, got a shot of the stunt man like crash pad that they were throwing the participants over the wall and having them land on a crash pad. Um, so, as I said on another program that I do with Maniac Mark Lindsay, I said to him, if you're going to pretend to throw somebody off a wall, which is in bad taste based on the Owen Hart stuff in 1999, but if you're going to do it, at least you shouldn't show the crash pad on the pay-per-view, for God's sakes. This is not public access television. This is a billion-dollar corporation. Come on, WWE, get it together. Um, um, we move on to AEW this week. We start with the Jake Roberts in-ring promo on Cody with Lance Archer, and then we see Cody actually in a truck driving up, revving the engine, and then a brawl ensues between Cody and Jake Roberts. They fought everywhere, more like a fist fight rather than a wrestling match. And Cody was in street clothes. It was so good, it was 5 stars. I think probably the best thing on the show. We then move on to Jurassic Express versus Best Friends. Best Friends wins 3 stars on that one. We then move on to Penelope Ford, Chris Statlander, Sheeta, and Britt Baker. Sheeta wins with 3 stars in the women's match. We then move on to an MJF versus Lee Johnson. Lee Johnson, a jobber / enhancement talent. For those of you new fans, MJF, of course, wins that match and then cuts an in-ring promo. MJF continues to show why he's one of the best in the business. Probably the only better promo worker in the industry right now, of course, might be Jake Roberts, but MJF is certainly a close second. We then move on to Pineapple Pete versus Chris Jericho, which was an exciting thing for me. I was waiting to see because Pineapple Pete and Chris Jericho have great chemistry together in weeks past. Chris Jericho, of course, destroys Pineapple Pete, but Pineapple Pete does get some offense, and it ends up being a 3-star match. Moving right along, we then see a Part B to the Come On Man Award winner, and that's the Vanguard 1 drone stuff that they keep having in AEW. I'm with my buddy Danny J on the Matt Hardy thing and the Damascus and Vanguard 1 and the drone. All of it is just stupid, just plain stupid, stupid, stupid. So if I didn't already have a Come On Man Award winner for the Money in the Bank trampoline that the WWE showed, this would have been my Come On Man Award winner. We then move on to Brody Lee versus Christopher Daniels. Brody Lee, of course, wins as they're trying to push him a major star, but Chris Daniels, the veteran, got some offense, so it was a 3-star match. And we then move on to some rumors that there's a strong possibility that Sting could end up in AEW, possibly setting up a program, a short-term program between Sting and AEW champion Jon Moxley. And there are a few people out there saying that Sting would possibly win the AEW title. I'm not sure that's a good idea. While I am a Sting fan, Sting is past his prime, and I think you need to push some younger, current AEW talent. Obviously, Sting will get some eyeballs on the program, but making Sting the world champion, if that happens, I'm not sure that's a good idea. And once again, Mike Tyson will be presenting the TNT Championship belt to the winner. That'll take place this week at Double or Nothing on May 23rd, this Saturday. We then move on to NXT, where we see a tag team called Emporium defeated Riddle and Thatcher to become the new NXT Tag Team Champions. 3 stars, a really good match, especially by NXT standards. NXT is not always that good, but that was a good match. We then see a cruiserweight title match, Jake Atlas versus Tony Nese. Atlas wins, 3 stars. We then see a throwback moment, which was a current moment in this case. I say throwback because it was 3 of the original DX members. We had Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Road Dogg Brian James in a control room-like segment saying for fans to tune into NXT, bringing back the pay-per-view in your house on June 7th, exclusively on the WWE Network. So even though I may not be watching the the pay-per-view on June 7th, it was really good to see 3 of the original DX members back, even if they are older now. And last, then we have Vic Grimes over Finn Balor, 3-star match. Damian Priest interferes and attacks Finn Balor after the match. So the attack after the match was probably better than the actual match, and that's what brings it up to 3 stars. We then have Jack Gallagher of NXT UK, now of NXT US, over Swerve, 3-star match for the Cruiserweight tournament match. And we then have some happy birthday wishes. First of all, happy birthday to a friend of the DJB Productions Network, former WWF star Cindy Snow, had a birthday just a few days ago as of this recording. And then I have another correction. I should have done this on May the 3rd, but on May the 3rd, we had happy birthday wishes to the mother of Tessa Blanchard, Courtney Blanchard Allen, is also the wife of former professional wrestler Magnum TA. So happy birthday wishes to all of those. And I hope they have a great day. Keep it right here. Subscribe to the channel, because as I say every week, not just the wrestling stuff, but all of the good programming on the DJB Productions Network. You got DJs After Dark. You got Capes Not Included. You got Messing with the McIntyres, which has become a big hit. A couple of former independent pro wrestlers that are gimmick brothers are doing some comedy and some other stuff. So check that out. But if you subscribe to the channel, you're pretty much guaranteed to get all the good programming here on the DJB Productions Network, not just the wrestling stuff. So keep it right here. But as far as wrestling goes, I personally will keep you up to date each and every week right here on that Way Cool Wrestling Show Breakout, with all the latest news and anything else that's happening in the world of professional wrestling. Special thanks to Danny J back at DJB Productions Network, pushing the buttons. And until then, we'll see you next time right here on that Way Cool Wrestling Show Breakout. Take care, everybody.
Thank you for listening to that Way Cool Wrestling Show Breakout. We'll see you at the matches. Goodbye, everybody.